I have some bad news. My Minecraft world just got deleted in a really weird way. So here's what happened. I use an external server host to host my Minecraft servers. Unfortunately, they had some kind of issue at one of their data centers, and that just happened to be the center where my server was stored. And this meant that my world got deleted. Now, you might be wondering, well, didn't you have backups? And yes, I had them auto-updating to a Google Drive, which kind of ran out of storage, and I didn't get alerted for some reason. So the last backup was from a couple of weeks before the server getting lost. But I didn't want to waste half of a YouTube video that I'd started recording because it was a pretty cool project. So here it is. I've had a really cool idea. What I was thinking was, what if we, somewhere near spawn, because we haven't got like, I mean, we've got spawn, but we haven't got like, it'd be cool if we had like a central build at spawn. And I was thinking like, what if we found a river or something, built like a medieval fishing village type thing? You know what? If we took this kind of islandy bit off to the left, which technically is part of the main spawn island, and if we deleted a chunk of land that's just over here, we could turn it into its own little island, and then we could build like a whole little fishing village all over it. That could be really cool. I think the first thing then probably to do is to clear out a bunch of this forest, and then we can start clearing the land. And then probably if we dig out a little perimeter or like just an edge along the netherrack, we could then get a bunch of TNT and blow up the rest of the land. Now the ice and the dirt's down, when I run on and break all the ice, we get water source blocks. Let's have a look at this. Oh wow, this actually looks amazing. There. Nice, that fills in. Well, this has been enormously successful. We have now cleared out the entire space through here, so there is now a man-made river that looks fairly natural, connecting all the way through. Now, there are still a few bits of tidying up to be done before we can start building the village. The first thing to do is to clear away all of these trees, which, I mean, like in the case of this one, it was just clearing that one log. I'm going to use FreeCam to help. Yes, it was just one log. That's now decaying. And these trees, I've decided can stay, although we might want some more leaves here, but for now it's fine. The next task will be clearing all of this floating netherrack from the outline that I put down, which in fairness was mostly broken by all of the TNT that we used. Don't know who put these acacia planks here, but they are ugly, so they can go as well. And then really the only thing now to do is to cover up all of this exposed stone on the mountainside. Because if we look over here, you can see that it's mostly stone going into the water, and then it's grass where it meets the water. I don't have to cover all of the stone down here, which is good news. I will have to cover some of it, and I will have to put grass on the top of it. Well, I think that is all of the terraforming done. You can tell that it's been terraformed, right? You can tell. But equally, it doesn't look so horrible and jarring anymore. It looks like it's kind of intentional, you know. And yeah, that's definitely the kind of thing I was going for. So now we have this really cool fly through here. Oh, this is super cool. Ow, this is exactly what I wanted. I think then that it's time to start planning. We have this whole island here, which can be used for the build. Now, it's going to need a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of deforestation that needs to be done. Ultimately, the idea is that it's like a medieval fishing port. So we'll probably clear large portions of the trees down here. And then we might leave some up, like further on the hill in the middle. And again, all down here, we'll have to clear the trees so that we can fit in stuff. And then down here on these stony beaches, these are going to be where we put in all the stuff that's fishing related. And then there'll be a system of kind of stony looking cobbled paths coming all the way up and running around this whole place. Ooh, trousers. And then we'll have a bunch of shops and all sorts. It's going to be kind of like the main shopping district, the main area. So, I mean, I guess first I should probably mark out or maybe draw on the mini-map some points that I want to remove. You know, where I want to take out trees or put a dock here or something. So I'm probably going to sit down for a bit with the picture of the map and just draw some stuff on planet a bit. And then that'll kind of give me an idea of what I want to do. And this is kind of my rough plan. We're going to have a fishing bit here, a fishing bit here, We'll then have shops here and here. This bit will all be kind of like steep cliffs on the beach and going out into the ocean. And then right in the middle here will be, I guess, village and some shops and also some woodland. All right, these two temporary waypoints are where we're going to build the lines. They are going to be the section that, as I showed you on the map, is completely woodland. That's one line completely put down all over the map. And the other red dividing line, which as you can see is making a nice little line across the map. The next task then is to begin the deforestation of this area. All of these trees and all of these trees need to go, which will actually get me a lot of wood. It's not going to be good for the environment, is it? But who needs the environment? Chopping trees is kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. Once you've done it for like an hour, it gets a bit dull. I think that's the thing with big Minecraft projects, because like it's really cool to have the finished product, but the fun is really in the in the process, in the making of it, and chopping. However, the first half is nearly done. Yeah, that looks to be everything. Perfect. Okay, nice work. Now we've done that, what I reckon we should start to think about is what we could put down here. Yeah, so I had on the stone bits on the left and right, some kind of fishing port bits, and then we can build shops on the two left and right sides. And then the section of stone in the middle that's between the two red lines can be like steep cliffs. All right, here are some shulker boxes of materials. And I think if we just get the stone down here, where it's like this, and just build up steep cliffs. These are pretty good, to be honest. Probably to this level. The level of the, I guess the level of the stone in front of them, but just to make them really steep and textured. Oh no, they've escaped again. I wondered why my Guardian farm rates were bad. Oh no, I've had to do this before and I did something to the Guardian farm and they all escaped. It's time then to begin laying out some markers for where these builds are going to go. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to get netherrack and signs. What I want to do is mark out where each feature is going to go. Say for example, I might want to come over to the edge of this water here and I'll put down a marker and it will probably be like a little harbour, or I guess kind of a bit where boats can come into the fishing village and drop off their stuff. Okay, well I have spent about an hour marking out all of this area. I've put in a bunch of markers, a bunch of shapes, and they've all got signs. We've got lots of fishing decorations. Here maybe like a harbour master office type building. It's all going to be fishing village related. And so with all those outlines made, I have hopped onto the server and we are going to get building a kind of fish hut market structure. Well, I tell you what, I am so pleased with this build. It looks really good, and yeah, I think it fits the vibe really well of what I'm trying to capture with this thing. After the success of the fish market, which by the way is looking incredible, and I am super happy about it. Like, it's the next day, coming back, looking at it with fresh eyes. Yeah, I'm really happy with this build. So off the back of that success, I think we should start work on the next big build, that being Harbour Master office building. Essentially, I want this to be the building for the medieval fishing port's Harbour Master, just someone who kind of was in charge, who said, hey, you can't sell your fish there. We already have a fish market, and other such things. So for this build, I'm thinking a lot of depth, a lot of shape, a lot of patterns, and a lot of texture and gradients. I want this to be like you can tell it's an old building. It's going to be a bit weathered, a bit distressed, lots going on, lots to see. I'm going to go with a different color palette to this build because it's nice, but I want these to be different looking builds. So I'm going to go and collect some wood, and I don't know, I'm kind of toying with the idea that like it's been built out of driftwood maybe, or maybe it's just very old wood. We'll start by removing the red blocks around the outside. And next we can get in a bit of an outline. Okay, I think I'm happy with the little floor plan I've got here. So next I'm going to start planning where things are going to go. We're going to have a doorway here that serves as the entrance into the building, and then we'll have a main office space here. This right here is going to be a window, and then we'll have the stone built up around the walls. So the next thing to try and get in is the gradient. I've planned out the gradient here. It's going to go from tuff to cobble, then to stone, then to gravel, and then to andesite. So I'm going to start to get that in now. Okay, we've got a nice base in place. As you can see, we've got a nice little gradient going on, nice bit of shape. So next we've got to put on some form of roof. And for this, as much as it pains me, I think I want to use mangrove. Like, it's going to be difficult to collect, but it just looks so good. And I do believe at my base, yes, I do. I have some mangrove wood. Okay, well, that wasn't a pain to collect because I had it. So that was lucky. As far as a roof goes then, I think I might need a bit of experimentation, but I think it'll work. I guess I've just got to get some blocks down and see how it looks really. Okay, so this is looking pretty cool at the minute, but something's not quite right. At the minute, it just looks a bit like a house with a helmet perched on top of it, and that doesn't look right. It just doesn't look quite right. And so that's where the decorative blocks come in. A little selection of blocks, and I just want to see, I guess, what putting some of them down would look like. I do quite like that, actually. I might do this to all the corners. Yeah, I like that. I'm much happy with that. I still think it needs something though. Got to be careful not to over detail. So, I mean, I've gone outside there. Yeah, I think I'll keep it how it is like this for now. I think also some trapdoor action could be quite good. I'm gonna need more trapdoors than this. I think the two little pots here, either side of the door, might look nice. And just on this one, I think maybe some extra fence post action. They look nice. Let's of course stick with the mangrove theme for the doors. They do look nice. And yeah, I mean, this is starting to come together now. This is definitely looking better. I think adding in some little paths around here also just helps to kind of, I guess, zone the building and just make it look a bit more permanent, a bit more like it's meant to be there. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it for the exterior. I'm pretty happy with that. Time for an interior then, which we can do by just shutting the doors and spinning around, and there we go. We have an interior fully built. It's nothing too fancy. We've got some nice little planks on the floor. We've got a little board displaying the tide times, because you know we are on the ocean, and a little office desk for our harbour master with some forms and some books and things he's doing, and some paintings around, and of course a nice big window so he can look out over his harbour and see everything that's going on. Now that was a very in-depth dive into how I build things, but there are still a lot of builds to go in this area. So I want to come over to the other side of the island now, because I would like to start work on this build over here, which I have written down to be a lighthouse. I think this will be a cool little build, and we're going to put it here, which is eventually going to be like a gravelly beach with some big old rocks. So it feels like it makes sense that there'd be a lighthouse here, guiding ships in, and then they can just sail around the water here, around the rocks, and over to the main fishing port, and there'll be a big harbour space here. And I found this really cool concept art, which I kind of want to base my build off of. You can see it's got sort of stony blocks here, and then a little bit here, a little path up, leaves all around it, and then a ring at the top with a house. And this cool little build would just have a dragon at the top. So yeah, I want to kind of make this my basis for the build. So I'm going to gather some materials and then start planning, I guess, just see what I can build. I think cobblestone and stone bricks are probably going to be my friends here. They're probably going to be the right sort of blocks to use, as with a lot of this build, to be honest. So yeah, I'll start as always to clear the red outline, and then we can start to get a bit of an outline of the build in place. Gone with a nice little oval here. I think that's probably going to be a good starting point. Looking at the inspiration, what I'm probably going to do is build it up a few blocks, and you can see there's like a little lip here, little area, and then set off to the side tower which goes up and slowly slopes inwards. So I think that's probably what I'll work on next, building this base up. Okay, well, I've got at least some kind of a build now. Not completely happy with it. I think this top stem needs to taper in a bit. All in all, though, I'm pretty happy with this so far. We can go up the stairs, we can kill all the mobs. I seem to have made a mob grinder. Yeah, we've got a nice building here. It's looking good, it goes up. I think I may have made a mob spawner under here. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. Wow, what a difference that has made. I have added in some vines, and I guess they're like, yeah, vines or moss dripping down. I've got some mossy bricks near the vines. I've also added in some missing bricks. You can see it looks like that top brick has been knocked out or fallen out from the wall. So I think we're just going to add some moss at the bottom and then do some bone mealing and add some flowers, and hopefully that'll make it feel better. Well, that feels a lot better. It feels so much more alive and organic now. And yeah, this is really good. I'm really happy with this build. Yeah, nice. Now, unfortunately, it was at this point that the server got deleted. Yeah, I know. Which meant that I couldn't finish this project, which really was a shame. Maybe I'll come back to it again one day and finish it off. I don't know, I guess we'll have to see. I am also working on potentially releasing a world download so that you can all play in this world, and I don't know, maybe you could continue the rest of the builds for this video. Thank you for watching the final episode of Series 3 of the Moon SMP. The new series is on the way. Boys, welcome to the Moon SMP Season 4.